This is a very fair question to ask. Is it anti-Semitic to be anti-Zionist? First, when we speak of anti-Semitism, we're not speaking of just criticisms of Jewish people that are valid and fair, of individuals or as Jewish people as a group that are valid or fair or accurate. We're talking about the demonizing of the people as a whole. We're talking about spreading falsehoods about the people as a whole. So is it anti-Semitic to be an anti-Zionist? If you have issues with the way Israel treats the Palestinians but recognize their right to be in the land, if you recognize there are two sides to the conflict but think that Israel is often taking the wrong side, that's perfectly fair and perfectly legitimate to raise that question. On the other hand, if you delegitimize Israel's right to exist, if you delegitimize Israel's right to have a homeland, if you demonize the nation as a whole and say that it is as a whole genocidal and apartheid, etc., if you spread lies about Israel, such as that the Israelis kill the Palestinians to harvest their organs and things like that, then yes, it is anti-Semitic. And so often, it is the case that anti-Zionism is a cloak for anti-Semitism. Let me say again, valid criticism of Israel and the Jewish people is fine and it's not anti-Semitic. Spreading lies about the people as a whole or demonizing the nation as a whole, that is anti-Semitic. But there's an interesting verse in the book of Zechariah. Zechariah, the 2nd chapter, the 12th verse. It's a very interesting verse. And the Lord will inherit Judah and his portion in the Holy Land, and will again choose Jerusalem. And in the same context, God says, whoever touches Israel touches the apple of my eye. What's the point I'm making? God dispersed the Jewish people into exile because of sin, rejecting the Torah, rejecting the prophets, rejecting the Messiah. And the Jewish people, I am a Jew, the Jewish people, we have been scattered around the world, often under judgment from God and then hatred from men and then Satan wanting to wipe us out. And yet, God still has his hand on the Jewish people and says, whoever touches them touches the apple of my eye. And he said that even when Israel was in sin and rebellion. Just as you'd feel towards your own child, maybe had done something wrong and you had to discipline that child, but that's still your beloved child. So fair and valid criticism of Jewish people, individuals, people as a group, Israel as a nation, fair and valid criticism is always fine. Demonizing the people as a group, delegitimizing the state, as a country, that, friends, is anti-Semitic. So sometimes anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism.